Hello everyone, welcome to another video with the Void Touched. Today we have the first This Week at Bungie of 2022. Also the first one with a new community manager. We're going by the new handle, Hippie. Huzzah. So, we're back. They're welcoming us back from the long break that we had over the winter. Coming into 2022. It's fantastic. One more month to go before we learn about Savathun's influence and what that means for Guardians and our beloved Osiris. In addition to some nifty additions of gameplay such as crafting and pokey glaive goodness. While we do want to share some news with our players, we also want to keep some secrets because there are a few unique surprises on the way that we want you to experience for yourselves, which is expected. We've been given very brief glimpses so far. And I know they're going to be releasing more stuff soon to explaining how some mechanics work. And basically what they're telling us here is there's potentially going to be some spoilers. There's going to be some story spoilers, some event spoilers as they go over some of these mechanics to explain how they work for us going into Witch Queen so we're not jumping into it blind. So that's inherent, but that is a warning now. Some of the trailers, some of the TWAB, some of the things like that could have spoilers in them, so you're going to want to pay attention. These videos, if there's anything that would be considered spoilers, I'm going to cover the TWABs. I'm going to read up on the TWABs, so if anything is marked is a spoiler and needs to be marked such, this video will have it contained in it. So, artifact mods. And insert Orbs meme here. Huzzah. So artifact mods have been a huge talking point before seasons come out. We always, like last season, and I think this season before, they revealed what the artifact mods were for the Unstoppable, Anti-Barrier, and Overload going in. So you can kind of make sure you have your loadout ready and you know what you're looking for. So, they're going over those with us here. They also have, it looks like, a change for the artifact, which I think is fantastic. For the longest time, we've only been able to get 12 artifact mods since artifacts were introduced. There was a glitch to get 13. It's not very consistent for some people. I was never able to get it to work, but it is what it is. So going into Witch Queen, going into the next season, we are going to be able to unlock every single artifact mod, all 25 of them. We're going to have to work for it. It's going to take a while. Some people will never get close to it, most likely, but we're going to be able to keep going and get 25 artifact mods unlocked, opening up the build possibilities greatly. Also allowing us to really play with combinations, especially with perks and mods on the final tree, the final slot, because those are always the really powerful ones. That's where like particle deconstruction existed, and the scout rifle one that caused the debuff, and breach and clear I believe existed on the final column. So that's going to be very amazing. That is a very good change in my opinion. It says we can still reset the artifact as much as we want using Glimmer, but at the same time we're going to be able to unlock everything. So realistically, you shouldn't be doing it that much later on. Early on, I could see it, but later on into the season, I don't see us having to do resets that often. Now, the artifact mods that we're going to be getting for next season for champion mods, we're going to have anti-barrier, scouts, and bows right here. So, in my opinion, one of the best anti-barrier scout rifles in the game is Night Watch with rapid hit and explosive payload. That's what I always run with the anti-barrier scouts. I used to have a Patron of Lost Causes before it got sunset that was rapid hit, explosive payload. Favorite gun in the game. So Night Watch is a very good scout rifle to use. The Hung Jury can also get rapid hit and explosive payload, but the biggest problem with that one is it's a 180 RPM, while the Night Watch is a 200 RPM. So there's also going to be a few energy scout rifles that you can get. If you'll see why in just a second, because they talk about the rest down here. But for the energy scout rifles, you have Trustee from Deepstone Crypt. You have the Eternal Blazon that you can get from World Drops. There's the Vouchsafe that you can get from the Dreaming City. Those are Solar, Arc, and Void, respectively. There's a few other options mixed in there, but those are pretty solid abilities. Eternal Blazon can get Disruption Break. Void Vouchsafe can get Rapid Hit and Explosive Payload. So that will be super useful as well. And Trusty is a full auto raid scout that can get a very huge magazine depending on what perks you get into it. We're going to be having, like I said, also anti-barrier bows. So Accrued Redemption and Biting Winds are the two best kinetic bows to have for that. Biting Winds comes from Europa. You can farm that out with Rapid Hit and Explosive Head. That one is pretty decent, but if you want the best one, you want to do the first encounter of Garden of Salvation to get Accrued Redemption, because that can come with Archer's Tempo and Explosive Head. And when it comes to applying anti-champion mods of any sort, if it's got explosive payload, time payload, or explosive head, then for whatever reason it seems to work just an extra amount more. It counts for 2 hits for whatever reason, the way it does the calculations for working those, so it helps make things go faster. It applies overload faster. I'm assuming will do extra damage to anti-barrier. The reason I use it on the scout is range. When it comes to Grandmasters and things like that with a scout rifle, you're way back here, and with explosive payload, there is no range fall off with that explosion. Maybe with the initial bullet, but with that explosion, there's no range fall off, so it applies the full damage to the champion's shields. We're also going to be getting overload auto rifles and SMGs. So there are a few options for auto rifles to use as far as overload goes. We've got things like the 7th Seraph, the Chroma Rush, the Braytech Werewolf. Those work really well for kinetics. We've also got Shadow Price, which comes from the Nightfalls for Arc. We have the Gnawing Hunger for Void, and the Arctic Haze, which comes from Europa for Solar. So we've got a few interesting options there. SMGs, Cold Front, Extraordinary Rendition, Multi-Mock from Iron Banner right now. And then there's a few different elemental options when it comes to that. You've got Aikilos, Death Adder, and what is a good void? Shaira's Wrath from Trials of Osiris. That's a good void submachine gun. So we've got a few different options there. They've said right here that they have done some work to make it easier to disrupt them, or not easier, more reliable. That was always the thing about overloads. If you use something like previously mentioned that had explosive payload or time payload, it applied overload a lot more consistently because of how many hits each bullet actually counted for. So hopefully they've gone through and given it a little bit of a tweaking so that it is a much more consistent use, because overloads are a pain with anything that fires rapidly like that. The new glaive weapon they've got down here, they've got apparently a variety of artifact mods going into it, including one that makes it unstoppable. It doesn't seem that they're saying any other weapon is unstoppable. I hope that there is at least one more weapon that's in there somewhere that is an unstoppable weapon, but I could see them leaning real heavy into the glaive. So if they really lean heavy into the glaive, that is pretty much going to dominate your energy slot whenever you go to do high-end content. So that's why I was listing a lot of kinetic bows, scout rifles, auto rifles, SMGs, because odds are you'll be having to run those with an unstoppable glaive, and you want to be able to make your actual kit match up to go into these. They do have artifact mods once again that will enhance some weapon perks. I don't think they're going to be doing anything else quite as much like they did with particle deconstruction and breach and clear, because those have not only did those decide the meta, they locked in the meta for that entire time. So I could see them start setting up some mods that will make, like they say here, specific perks, specific traits and weapons to function that much better, that much more efficiently. Whether those go on the weapons themselves or will go on armor remains to be seen. But I see them moving away from we're going to buff this archetype with this mod to we're going to buff this specific perk. And that unfortunately, that might not do enough. It could be really freaking good for all we know, but it might not do enough. And they're going to have to find some sort of happy medium somewhere where in regards to weaponry and their perks and whatever buffs they can give to artifact mods. Or they're just going to have to take a broad stroke somewhere with the way they work. They're going to have to walk away from artifact mods that buff damage like that or cause a debuff, or they're going to have to just lean into them and buff health or enemy AI or damage resistance for them or something like that. Now, they are going to be reworking some of the masterworking, which really makes me excited. So right now, if you have a fully masterworked piece of legendary gear or an exotic piece of gear, you have to pay a bunch of glimmer, ascendant shards, and I believe one upgrade module in order to change it from a fully masterworked solar to a fully masterworked arc. In Witch Queen, that's going away. So it's now going to start being, you are able to take a masterworked legendary piece of gear and you spend 10,000 glimmer and one upgrade module, and you can change them fully masterworked to another fully masterworked element, which is amazing. Exotic armor, 20,000 glimmer. BFD. So this is an extremely good change that is going to allow us to take, like, I have multiple copies of one piece of armor because they're all different elements. I cannot take them and just shrink it down. You don't have to have multiple copies of armor anymore. You can have just one, and it's easy to change the masterwork on it, and it's easy to make loadouts for it now, and it makes it to where you don't have to have 7, 8 different sets of armor, all for different situations, or all just in case maybe I'll find something that will fit with this. If you have something that gives yourself triple stats or quadruple stats in the hundreds, then you can keep that on there and just keep constantly changing out the elements in the mods. And now you come equipped for every situation. So I think that is a fantastic change. All right, in closing out, we're going to be talking about Orbs of Power and how they're generated. Currently, they're generated right now through weapons. When you have a weapon that is masterworked and you get a multi-kill that spawns an Orb of Power at that enemy's location, or if an ally does it, it spawns it at their location for you to pick up. Going into Witch Queen, orb generation is going to be moved from masterworked weapons to a helmet-based armor mod. It's going to be a suite of mods that are automatically unlocked for everybody to use that are going to be restricted to damage types: solar, arc, void, kinetic, stasis, most likely. And you have to equip this mod in order for the orb generation to function. I don't think that, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that's going to work the way they want it to. It means that outside of doing a weapon crafting, my weapons will probably never make orbs. Hopefully they will be able to modify that system and move it forward. And if they want to keep it attached to the armor, maybe they can find a way to do that. But right now, I don't think that's going to alleviate the problem. I think it's unfortunately going to make it worse. But that being said, I could be completely wrong. It could be going in there and being like a great slot, great price. It could function a really good way. We just don't know. That's my worry. But so we're going into this. We're going into a positive. They've got helmet armor mods. It's going to free up a slot for weapons that will let them hopefully do something. But we'll wait to see when it comes to that. We'll let the Bungie sandbox team do fun little things with masterworking and things like that later. So the 30th anniversary content, that's not going away. We have had multiple lists of the what is being sunset with Witch Queen, what's going into the vault, and nowhere has the 30th anniversary content been listed. There must have been some confusion somewhere in the community, and they have addressed it officially that the 30th anniversary content is not going away. So re-officialized, or however you want to think about it, they've told us now multiple different ways that 30th anniversary content is staying here. Prime Gaming, we have the Pyrrhic Victory, which is the flare emote. We have the Hissing Silence Ghost Shell, another inspired idea Sparrow, and the Astera Blade Legendary Ship. Those are for Prime Gaming now. There was an issue with colorblind mode. I believe I saw something where they reverted it back to what it was before 3.402, and they are going to be fixing that and pushing it out later. There's a lot of problems. I've been seeing multiple people still talking about negative silver balances and issues with silver purchases on Steam. So they say they've corrected it again. Log out, log back in. If you still see it, go ahead and send them a report, because I know this is something that they unfortunately battle semi-regularly. Xenology quest from Xur can be recovered if deleted, and now Challengers Proving 5 will successfully unlock for those who are still trying to chase that storyline. I know I have a few friends of mine that I was trying to help go through. So now that it has unlocked, you can finish up the Season of the Chosen storyline, which is a really, really good story. Yeah. Let's see. They've fixed a few issues with the Twitch extensions that was giving bounties. It was not giving the bounties emblems and shaders to people, and that should have been rectified as of now. They have a few issues with Marmot. The Wicked Overgrowth shader didn't unlock in the collections like it should have. We have a few cool videos, some neat art. We have the Operation Save the New Lights. We were having an issue where a lot of new lights, or those who had not played in a long time since the 30th anniversary came out, were all getting thrown into Dares of Eternity, underleveled. They don't have gear. They don't have, some of the new lights, they didn't have a power weapon. So they were just thrown in with a random power weapon. I saw someone came in with I think it was a green rocket launcher in one of the runs that I did. And they were just like, what do I do with this? So they're recognizing that in the 3.402, the update, they did lower the recommended power to 1100. And they also made it so that anyone who has not unlocked their heavy weapon will not be thrown into Dares of Eternity. This is the emblem they've made for anyone who went on Operation Save the New Lights. It's 9 based. It's for all of us who went in and played in Dares of Eternity, whether we were doing the Operation New Light, Save the New Lights, or if you were a new light yourself. These should be given to anyone who completes the activity before the 18th. And so we've got some Threads of Light information. They are still doing the Threads of Light fashion show. Just on Twitter, get your fit, hashtag Threads of Light, share it out. Let's see. We've got more to share over the next couple of weeks. More on Gambit, excellent. Weapon crafting, knew it. And a few other goodies that we can't wait to show off. Stay tuned, and in the meantime, stay fresh and be kind. See you soon. I should go. Hippie. Love the Mass Effect reference there, hippie. So yeah, that is our TWAB, the first TWAB of 2022. Not a lot of information, but at the same time, some pretty juicy information. We're going to wait and see. That is a position I'm officially taking with the Orbs of Light, or the Orbs of Power mod situation. We're going to wait and see how that plays out. I'm not confident, but they've surprised me with things that I wasn't confident about before. So I'm going to definitely give them the chance that they have earned. So thank you everyone for hanging out. I hope you all have a great day. Peace. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go watch me on Twitch. Links in the description. Yeah.